right, sweet man. Are you coming to us from Windsor?
Yeah, from Windsor, Ontario.
That feels like America to me.
What's that?
It feels like America to me because I've been to Windsor a couple of times when I've had to go to Detroit, and it's just so close. You know?
Yeah, it's a border city, and honestly, like it takes us. We fly out of Detroit all the time. We go
Mhm.
over for sporting events, concerts. So it's like the big city amongst Windsor. Windsor's like a smaller city in comparison. So yeah, honestly, and even like watching the news growing up, it was all influenced by Detroit news stations, sporting events, all that stuff.
It's wild. So I'm in Milwaukee, in Wisconsin, and he's in Minneapolis, and we're farther north.
I know.
It's always crazy to be more north than Canada.
Yeah, that's wild. It's we always say like Windsor, Ontario is the Florida of Canada. It's the most southern part, and it's crazy that we're more south than yeah than a lot of U.S. states.
Hmm.
The beaches are white, but it's snow. Very different. I actually have a question for you about this now. I
That's
haven't.
right.
I coach for a living. So does Brakken, and I have an athlete running the Detroit-Windsor or Detroit, Canada marathon or half marathon. I believe it goes across the border. You probably are familiar with this. The only thing I can think of is they're using the tunnel
Yeah,
under the waterway. Is that what they do?
so yeah, basically it starts in Detroit. It goes over the bridge, the Ambassador Bridge, so one of the international crossings. It comes through Windsor for a little bit, and then it goes back through the tunnel. So there's two international crossings throughout.
Hmm.
So I'm doing the half marathon this year in October there. But yeah, it's a race I grew up watching, doing the water station for. It's a pretty unique event.
So do they pre-clear everyone? How does that work?
So yeah, they have to. You have to submit like your passport, and they have to like basically approve you before.
Hmm.
Also, sorry if you hear the dog in the background. She's going a little psycho right now.
Oh, good.
That's not bad.
But yeah, they have to approve you before, and then you're supposed to like carry like a copy of your passport during the race, just in case they stop you.
Do they spot check?
I think if you have backpacks, stuff like that, they'll like pull people aside.
Okay.
If you're usually like, I don't know, in a lead group or up amongst yourself, they don't really like bother you. But yeah, the odd person they'll check here and there.
Well, this
Interesting.
this gentleman's
Yeah, it's
mission
very unique.
is to run a race in every state. That's his current mission. And he's like, well, I could check off Canada and Michigan on the same day. He's like, Canada wasn't on my radar. And of course, there's provinces, but he's getting a two birds with one stone thing. He's trying to do this efficiently. So, anyways, we just talked about it this week. So I thought you'd be the perfect guy to ask about that race. You
Yeah,
haven't
it's a cool event.
you haven't met Bracken. I don't even know if you knew there was going to be two people chatting with you today. So surprise.
No, I didn't know.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Surprise.
All right. Well, Corey, I have so many questions for you, and I'm sure Bracken does too. Like, I don't even know where to start this conversation because I have a feeling you're a unique individual. At least I'd like to think.
I hope so.
Well, you're one of one as far as beer mile world record holders go, so that makes you fairly unique, I would say.
Yeah, it's such a weird, unique event for sure. I don't know. Some people label it as a good unique. Some people label it as a not so sure what to think unique.
Hmm. I can see that.
Well, it aligns with what I think of Canada. So I spent many weeks and weekends years ago in Canada for different events. I've been all over Edmonton, Toronto, Calgary, doesn't even matter, Vancouver, all of them. And my take on Canadians is you have great hearts and loose morals, meaning you're fun but not uptight, but you're good human beings. Every time I go to Canada, I meet people who are like a blast, but they're good souls. Instead, here, like you might meet somebody who's a blast, but they also don't have their life together and they're an asshole. But Canada, I feel like you guys can have a good time, but also keep your side of the street clean, so to speak. Is that true? And is that how it comes together for you? Tell me the truth here.
Yeah, I think we've always joked like why, because Canadians traditionally like started the beer mile, made it a thing, and then I think when it first got going for the international competitions, we were sort of the ones that were at the forefront of it all. And I always said, like, I think we don't take ourselves too seriously. We like to have a good time, but we also have a competitive nature to us. But at the end of the day, I think we like the camaraderie of the event. Yeah, we do like to just have a good time and celebrate something that is different. And I think Canadians are different. Whether I think you're painting us in a great picture, which is very generous and nice of you. Um, but yeah, I just think we're always like a very smaller. We're always seen in a smaller scale compared to the U.S. So I think we don't boast or promote ourselves too much.
Well, I can't argue with that. Um, so is my take correct? Is that what you're getting at? I'm correct.
I think you're pretty spot on. I think
You got to hear that.
yeah. I think I have to say you're right there.
What do you think of What do you think of like Americans in general? Out of curiosity, let's put you
Yeah,
on the
and
spot.
I mean I've met a lot of great Americans, but yeah, I think at the end of the day, like I'm so used to going back and forth as a kid that I
Mm.
don't see like the people necessarily much different. I think sometimes Americans get painted a light that's like America over everyone, America this, like it's USA in your face all the time, which is also like you're just very patriotic people. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. It's just I think USA is first and foremost on a lot of Americans' tiers.
I think that's a safe way of putting it. So
Uh,
you don't know this, but we put on maybe you do, maybe Kirk told you, we put on a beer mile over COVID. And I was coming off surgery. So I did a beer power walking mile and I hadn't done one since college. And it reminded me how truly brutal of an event it is. Because Kirk and I both ran middle distance, 800, 1500, and it's a really uncomfortable distance. And then you add in the stomach and the disrupted breathing, and it's truly terrible. So before we get deep in everything, my only curiosity is that does it get better, or is it like any other running where you just get faster at the same or worse levels of discomfort?
um, yeah, I think in my position, I have like a very strong stomach. I don't know if it's like trained genetic. I don't know where it comes from. I mean, I guess the closest thing I can attribute it to is like growing up and having a big dinner before track practice, and then just
Mm-hmm.
ripping around the track and just learning to be uncomfortable with that big amount of food in my stomach. But um, I think throughout the beer mile, I just want to get it done. It's as quick as I can. Like it's uncomfortable. I know my stomach can handle it for those 4 and a bit minutes. But after that, I mean, my stomach is mangled after, to be honest.
Yeah.
It never feels comfortable throughout, but I know if I force the beers down within those instances where I'm stopping, out of breath, essentially drowning myself in beer. Um, and yeah, I mean, a lot of people say you're essentially waterboarding yourself with beer as well. So it's just once you finish that aspect of things, I think it's easier to break down like lap by lap, beer by beer. But it
Mm-hmm.
is you never get faster throughout. I always put money in the bank starting off. The next 3 laps are usually consistent with the end of the race.
And so how long are you mangled for afterwards?
Um, I'd say like usually we do a cool down after, which is just I don't know why we do it. I think we treat it like an actual race and do a cool down after, and throughout the cool down, like maybe 20 minutes in, you're a little more giddy, a little more excited. Um, but I've had my stomach reacts different every time. In Chicago this past year, my foot was mangled after, so I'm sure the pain, a little bit of pain from that, and then just I don't know the beers weren't sitting as well, but I laid down, foot's bleeding, puked right after, and just all liquid. So that doesn't happen every time. I don't usually puke after, but usually my stomach's a little upset after, and might feel the urge to puke whether I do it or not.
that's the clip that went viral-ish. Is you losing your shoe in a beer mile and still running like 4:31 or something, and pretty much lost it the first lap or something, I believe. And I've had I don't know. Is that what happened? Right?
Yeah, so 50 meters in, they had like I think 22 guys on the start line, which it's when you're all starting out pretty much the same. Like everyone chugs the first beer pretty much the exact same rate, and then a bunch of guys just got out of the gate at the same time. So everyone's trying to crowd into lane one, and the British athlete clipped my heel, shoe went underneath my heel, and then I just pretty much kicked it off as far as I could. So it was 50 meters in the race, and then people are like, why don't you go back and grab your shoe? The last thing you want to do is go backwards in a race. So I just dealt with it, ran the race, finished as quick as I could. But especially nowadays when all the shoes are carbon, I was racing in some carbon spikes, and like I have so much pop from the one foot, the other foot's just slapping on the ground. And I do land pretty hard and severely on the outer edge of my foot, that it was just like absolutely torn and shredded from the track.
Yikes.
That's a nightmare.
Yeah.
That's a nightmare scenario, losing a shoe right away. And it's not like it's a regular track meet where they might just, shoot the gun off again, call everyone back. 'Cause what? Now you got to restart and it's a 5 beer. They're not going to do that. So you're stuck.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I wore socks that look similar colorways to my spikes. So even my family, even the event organizers, the announcers, they didn't know my shoe was off until probably 2.5 laps in or so. So I was the only one that knew and felt it, and I think you can see pretty much from after that first lap, I'm just grimacing the entire race.
Of all the racing I've done, I've never what I call like popped a flat tire in a race. Never. I mean, I fell, I've been tripped. Brakken, have you ever lost a shoe? I've never lost a shoe.
I had a shoe come untied in one of my first off-road trail races. I broke the cardinal rule. I tried something new, a new pair of shoes on race day, and they had laces that were round. And as soon as it got wet, they just compressed a little bit and they came undone. So I ended up having to just tie a knot in them. It didn't come all the way off, but heel came out. But never in track, never in cross, I never got clipped. I'm so bow-legged when I run that I think my knees are like bumpers for me. No one's getting near my heels.
That's hilarious. I have a quick question for you guys. You guys said you did mid-distance running as well. What were your times, or what was your special event?
Slower.
Slower than yours, yes.
You were what, 147 and 357 for a mile?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, 147, 357 for the mile.
Yeah. Yeah, we weren't as quick. I ran 153.
Solid.
And then I ran a 357 1500.
Solid. So you're more the speed guy, more the 4.8 guy.
I was a 1,200 meter runner.
Okay.
If they would have had that. I was too slow for the 8, and the mile was too long. Whenever we ran a DMR, that was like across the board in the scoring tables was my best event.
Damn.
I was 409.
Very small window of opportunity for me as an athlete.
Oh, you had a sweet
409,
spot.
that's solid too, yeah.
Yeah, that was my sophomore year, and then I was sick and injured, so I actually never ran after. In college, I was unable to complete a season after that, but now I'm 41. Well, I'll be 41 in 2 weeks, and I'm flirting with sub 15 in the 5K still. I ran 15:17 this summer, so I'm hoping to run 14x as a 40 plus. But so I've had to go further as I've gotten older, so now I'm chasing the Masters stuff. We'll see how it goes, but no, you were.
That's huge, man.
I'm trying, but there's less and less of us out there that have stuck with it this long. Because are you early 30s, late 20s?
29, so I turned 30 in December.
Okay. God, you're right in the sweet spot. You're right in the sweet spot. That is just a good place to be. And that's actually asking us about our times and bringing that up. That's actually the place I wanted to start with you with this conversation, because so we haven't even introduced you yet. Corey Bellemore is who we are chatting with right now, beer mile world record holder. I've had maybe a half a dozen people request us to interview you over the past year or two. People would shoot little messages and be like, yeah, well, that sounds like a great idea. And then I kept seeing your clips pop up on social media. And then I had one more message saying, you should really interview this guy. Look at, and I was like, yep, I'm going to reach out to him. But the fact that you can drink beer and run fast is obviously, I have so many questions. But I don't want that to take away from the fact, like, you're a runner, obviously. To run the fastest beer mile in the world, it starts with the running. Like, nobody can outdrink the beer mile, right? You need to be able to run it. And so I don't want to take away the fact that you compete in this novel event very well from the fact that you're a quick runner with a history and a background in all of this, and you probably never knew it would lead you to this, obviously. That's a hindsight thing. But we don't know anything about you. And I think it would be good to sort of take us back just a little bit, like who the heck are you? Where are you from? How did your running, all that start? I don't know, start wherever you'd like, but I think it would be good to get to know you a little bit first before we really start splitting hairs of the beer mile.
Yeah. So name's Corey Bellemore. I grew up in Windsor, Ontario. So not a huge city by any means, but across the border from Detroit. So I had all the amenities of a big city there. And then it was grade 2 really, where I started thinking about running. My parents always grew up running. I would bike next to them. I was very interested in what they were doing. And I always thought like, oh, maybe if they can do it, I can do it too. Grade 2, joined the cross country team for grade school, just more or less a fun thing, social thing, meet some friends. I was too young to race. I think they start letting you race the next year, but I could barely run 2 minutes without walking at that time. So I couldn't understand how my parents could go for 30-minute runs to an hour run. It didn't make sense to me. And then year after year of doing that, meeting friends, obviously growing a bit more, and just developing, I started getting better and started liking it more. In my first race ever, it was actually at the end of the grade 2 cross country season. They let us do a fun run where it was basically chase a dirt bike around a bunch of trails, try and keep up with them as best you can, and then the race was a mile long. And my grandma before said, pretend there's a tiger chasing you and just run as fast as you can. So that was my mindset, honestly, for my early years of running, just always thinking about a tiger chasing me. Grade 7 was when I first started like a track club. So was doing actual workouts, seeing some of the older guys on the team, seeing some nationally ranked sprinters, distance runners. And I thought I was a sprinter for the longest time, like a lot of developing athletes think. But that was short-lived. I think grade 8, I realized I was not the fastest kid in the school anymore. And then, throughout high school, I had a great coach he was actually the Canadian indoor record holder in the long jump. He was a short man, but jumped like 770 in university indoors. And he undertrained me. He understood a little bit of distance running, but undertrained me because he sort of got me to buy into, do you want to be good now or do you want to be good later in life? So I did cross country, swam for 5 months throughout, didn't even think about running, didn't do any running, swam like on our high school team, which was 14 to 16 hours of training a week. And then in the summers, just enjoyed it. So he taught me to like have a life beyond sport, beyond running, just enjoy all aspects. And then
that's nice.
Grade 11.
That's very fortunate to have early on.
Yeah, because I know, especially, I do see it, especially in the States, a lot of these high school kids are just, there's so many kids breaking 4 minutes in the mile now, and it's just, where do you go from there? How do you develop your training?
Right.
It can be short-lived at times. So he got me to buy into like the long development, the long game. And in grade 11, I started training with the University of Windsor track team in Windsor, and like fell in love with it even more. Just I saw within the sport, you could also have fun training with your partners, meet a lot of people. I had the opportunity to travel through making Canadian junior teams growing up. So I think the ability to travel, work hard, run, everything came together in one place, and it really made me fall in love with running, and also brought me to like where I work now. I work part-time at a run store on weekends, and then I work full-time for a company called Race Roster, which does registration for endurance events and fundraising for endurance events. So everything sort of fell in line with me loving running and pursuing it in all aspects.
So if you were at the end of your career, 3:57 in the mile, breaking 4 isn't what it was in the 50s, but it's still the barrier that everyone strives after if you run middle distance, and it's still legitimately fast. But clearly, like race number 1 or run number 1, you didn't jump out off the page as a future sub 4 miler. So when did that start to tip? When did it become apparent that this could be a future?
I would say probably like I think once I hit my growth spurt in grade 10, going into grade 10, that's when I started seeing more success, putting more into it, thinking at a higher level in terms of competition and like what training and what workouts I was doing, recovery I was doing. Like I was starting to get a little more dialed, and with that came better results. So I think grade 10 was the tipping point, and then beyond that, I think once I got to university, we would go to D1 meets all the time. So getting a taste of that and seeing where I was in terms of like some of the best in the U.S., like racing guys like Clayton Murphy in university at Akron University. You sort of got a taste for that, and then going to international competitions, racing people from all over, World University Games, racing people from all over. That's when I really started tasting it a little bit more. And then after university, I could put everything I learned in university into practice outside of it. So I wasn't following a schedule that was made for me by my university coaches. It was more like, what kind of workouts work best for you? What scheduling works best for you in terms of how much you're racing? And that's the first year at university is when I broke 4 for the first time. So, and it was pre-super shoes too. So I would say that.
In the old victories or what?
I was wearing a pair of Adidas Avantis. So
The Avantis.
yeah. So
Pre-TYO.
Yeah. A bit of boost in them, and not much to them.
I'm actually very curious about something you said minutes ago. I went to I grew up in a different area. So I'm from Green Bay, Wisconsin. So it's not a huge town. I'm in Minneapolis now, but we did not have an opportunity to run in second grade. Like even casually, it was either ball sports or that wasn't an option. In fact, the first chance I had, and I went to a large high school and middle school and elementary school, was in 6th grade. We just had a cross-country club. There was no real official anything, and we just probably much like your second grade club was. I'm wondering if that's common to have an opportunity that young to like go to running practice.
Grade 2, absolutely not. Like it was. I think it was myself, one other person, and then there was a girl that was part of our group that we just decided to ask the coach if we could come along and participate in the practices, and he said, well, you can't race till grade 3. So grade 3 was where they start going like within the county schools and then county and city. So they actually have like formal competitive events, but in grade 2, it's just like you can come be a part of it and do it and see if you like it, but we can't not let you race at all. Which at the end of that season, there was a surprise race that they just threw a grade 2 category, and I think there was 10 finishers, but I was basically racing my classmates.
Even that though, Kirk, when do we start? 6th grade in our scholastic programs?
Yeah, and official races and meets and track were 7th for us. Even in 6th grade, we couldn't race until 7th.
Damn. Yeah, so I had a couple years jump on you guys. So 153 to 147, I think that was the difference maker.
That's what I'm putting down in my profile now.
Yeah.
Asterisk. Would have been 147 if I started earlier.
That's right.
Did you go to University of Windsor?
So then I'm curious about the progression.
I guess we just didn't get to that. Did you end up? Is that where you went to school?
Yeah, I went to the University of Windsor in Canada. So yeah, right on the border of Detroit. And our coach, he was a very decorated coach for Canadian universities and also coached a bunch of national teams as well. So he had history with Olympians. Canadian record holder in the 800 for women. She went to University of Windsor. I saw her develop and her also make the Olympics multiple times. So it just gave me confidence to stay home, go to that school, and then participate in one of the best Canadian programs.
I did a little bit of online, World Athletic time stalking, and I saw you had a 300-meter PR. Was that like at Grand Valley State or something? Where did you find a 300-meter indoor race?
They have some weird distances in Canada. So we do indoors. They have the 60, like in the US as well. They have the 300 though. They have the 600. They have the 1K. So they have a lot of like obscure distances that aren't really
Okay.
offered elsewhere. So I just did it at a fun meet, just early season, just
That makes sense.
yeah, not a sprinter, but out of the blocks, and was terrible at it.
300 would be a really difficult distance.
Especially indoor flat track, 200 meters. Not
Oh, is a 200-meter track?
Yeah.
I assumed it was on an oversize.
No, 200-meter flat track.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's awful.
So then I'm curious about your progression then. Just PRs, 8th grade through university. How did that progress? You said 10th grade you had that spurt and then you took it more seriously as you saw success, but what did it look like numerically?
Yeah, so I'll focus, because I focused on the 800 pretty much all the way going through, so I'll speak
Okay.
on that. Actually, I'll do 800, 1500. So 800 was grade 8, 212, grade 9, and then I think I was 436 or so in the 1500, grade 8. Grade 9, I was 414 in the 1500, 206 in the 800. Grade 10, I was 157 in the 800.
Oh, wow.
And
That's a big jump.
There's his
I
jump.
think
Yeah.
I was 407 in the 1500. So not a huge improvement there in the 15, but big jump in the 800. And then 153 in the 800 in grade 11, 356 in the 1500 grade 11, and then grade 12 I was 150.9 in the 800.
Whew.
And then I was 353 in the 1500. So yeah, the 800 definitely took priority, and then I was 149, 148, 147, and then 147 for a couple of years there in university.
So you ran my lifetime PRs as a 15-year-old. That's what we're saying here.
Yeah, I was younger. 153 grade 11. So I think I was, say 16, 15, 16.
Yeah. This is good for people to hear because we do try to talk generally, but we can't help but speak about times of workouts we're running, things like that. And from time to time, people, because we talk about times, sometimes there's the odd listener who thinks that we're full of our time. So it's good for them to hear that when we say there's levels to everything, that we're very, very much comfortable being sub-elite in this world.
That's hilarious. Yeah. You're a humble man.
Well, it's real. Like my college times now wouldn't win the state competition in high school. Like it's a different world and it's a fast world, and my college times now wouldn't win necessarily women's national championships anymore. It's just running has taken off, and it's a black and white sport. You can't hide.
No, yeah, you're
I am a 153 and that's it.
yeah,
And I'm a 357 and that's it. You can't, other than my asterisk, if I would have started at 2nd grade, there's not much else I can apply to this.
That's the thing. Yeah, you can't hide from your times. Like our coach always said, you're only as good as your last race. So that's what it is.
It's harsh, but it's the reality.
As a 150 point in high school, was there anybody faster in Canada at the time? Were you the fastest high school prospect in the 800?
There was another guy that was actually from my hometown, Brandon McBride, who was
tough
the
draw.
Canadian record holder in the 800 for a bit. Yeah.
You
So
show up
he
to a
actually,
dual meet and run 151 and lose. Be like, oh no, he's here.
Yeah, I mean, he was running 140. I think he was 146.4 as like a junior, maybe even 145 high at the end of grade 12. So he was phenomenal. He took us through that race in 150. I think we went 51 something through 400, and I like blew up the last lap, but I didn't care because I ran 150. So
Yeah, you're.
Did you get recruited to the U.S.?
yeah. So I think I talked to around like 30 different schools. My high school coach, he wanted me to make my own decisions, so he got me to fill out every single recruiting questionnaire for every single D1 school everywhere in the States. It took me months to complete all of them, but I filled out every single questionnaire, put myself out there as much as I could, talk to quite a few big schools, and then decided to go to Windsor. And it was honestly the best move for me. Like I think a lot of places I was looking in the States, I would have been just another number, which I think a lot of times too in the States, your performance also is in unison with the coach's job. So it's sometimes if you're feeling injuries or whatnot, they still want you to push through it because their job is dependent on how well you perform and how well the program performs.
Kirk, does that story sound familiar? The athletic resume send out?
For sure, man. Oh, yeah. Did it all.
I sent out every D1 and D2 school in the nation.
Yeah, makes sense. Might as well. It's
different reasons. My thought was one of them will offer something.
Mm-hmm.
Yours was, I need to find out where I'm going. But interesting that did you take trips down to the States and do campus visits?
I didn't even do that, to be honest.
You just knew early?
I knew early on. I chatted with a few, like gauged interest, thought about going elsewhere, but never actually did any trips to any universities or colleges in the States. And since I was training with University of Windsor, grade 11, it was more or less just to get options, get a feel. But I sort of had that in my back pocket and knew that was a great option regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So
long term, it worked.
The question, the next question in this sort of succession is, what percentage of top-end collegiate athletes in track and field go on to actually still run track races after they graduate? And you said that you ran your PR under 4, or at first you broke 4 for the first time a year out, I believe, of university. I don't know, 95% of people give it up, right? Or they go to the roads, or they go to life transition, and they lose fitness slowly but surely. Even at 29, you're in a very, very small subsection of people who ran well in college that have stuck with it. We only see the professionals that get paid to do it, and then we hardly see anybody else who is just below that because they have to transition to a life and a job, and they end up slowly slipping, right?
Yeah.
So my question is, like, what happened post-collegiately then? Like, you said you were coaching yourself. Like, what circuits did you pursue? Very curious about those, I don't know, 3 years after college, let's say.
Yeah. So thankfully from the beer mile, I actually had an agent at the time that I was working with that helped me get some brand deals, that helped me get into some big meets. So I had that, thankfully.
Wait, you ran your first one during college or right after?
Yeah, so it was the first one
the first big one.
The first big one would have been my it was the summer going into my last year.
Okay.
So yeah, that whole last year, I couldn't even race a lot of indoor races because our college athletic department and then the bigger like board, they were determining, because I had an Adidas sponsorship, they were determining if I was allowed to race with that. So I couldn't even race for like half the season, and you had to get time standards for nationals. So it made crunch time a lot worse and a lot more pressure when it came time to like getting those times. But yeah, I mean, back to your question, like the percentage of people that pursue athletics after college, it's pretty minuscule. I would find like a lot of people do feel the pressure to get a job, to move on with life, to give it up, to settle in a lot of ways. I always found that this one constant, if I was running, I felt like, and I was running well and having fun with it, that sort of pushed other aspects of my life to also follow suit. I think it set a higher degree of standard for other things in my life. So I always just kept that. I had fun with it. I worked in between. I was always working, whether it was part-time, full-time. I was always working jobs throughout university till now. And now I have like a career. I have a part-time job still, and I still compete at a fairly high level.
I think a lot of people could take something from that. If you continue to focus on your pursuits, like, what is it? A high tide rises all ships. Well, all ships in your life, so to speak. I very much agree with that. Like, it bleeds into everything. So what were you doing for training then? Like, the post-collegiate racing scene, so I started going back to the track last year to try to run a fast 5K, and I might jump into some masters track meets. I don't know what I'm doing. It's fun because, like, the like I have a fresh start again as like a 40-year-old, which is really odd, but it's true. Like it's almost its whole different thing, which you'll get there, I promise you. And then you'll be like, oh, this is nice. I can race 40 plusers and hang my hat on that. But anyways, I'm curious what like the racing scene looked like, how that all worked post-collegiately for you, like funding your travel. What races did you pick out? How did you get in? All of those things. Like walk me through that.
Yeah, so I guess after university, I think that's the year I did. So I did World University Games in Taiwan, which was a funded national trip that I did. But then going into cross country and indoor season, I was doing some long miles, long base miles during fall, not putting a ton of pressure on doing any sort of cross country racing. I think I did do nationals that year, it was not too far away, so it was not a huge trip financially. And then indoor races, I honestly tried to target races that I could get into with my university time. So my university time in the mile was 4:01. So I actually found a race in Michigan that Nick Willis was doing, Mason Furlick, a lot of the very nice track club guys were doing. Ann Arbor is an hour away from me, so raced that one, got my mile time down like a second at the time. Used that time because I needed a recent time to get into races in Ireland. Got into races in Boston. Boston I paid for. Ireland though was all the comp, the food, all that stuff was all paid for. So my goal over the next couple of years was to try and find meets that would pay for the travel. I'd have accommodations. It wasn't coming out of my pocket because I never wanted to go backwards in a financial sense. I had saved some money. I didn't want to tap into my savings just to continue to pursue the dream. I know in some ways you might have to a little bit dip into it, but I didn't want to like completely take from that. So I went to races in Nashville during the outdoor season. I did go back to Ireland outdoors as well. So I just made good contacts within the scene. The sport's very small, so if you have a couple good races here and there, people take note, and then you can use those PBs to justify getting into better heats at bigger races and continue to funnel it that way. There's a lot of opportunity, to be honest, like in track and field, whether it's even some races you pace at this race, you get to yourself to Europe, they'll pay for your accommodations, pay for your travel, pay you to pace. If someone hits a certain time standard, they'll give you a bonus on that. So there's ways if you're strategic to make money and to also fund your travel. So that's what I always try to tap into. There's a different side to track and field. It's not necessarily like you're not going to get rich doing it by any means unless you're at the top, but there's ways to at least break even for sure.
I like that process.
Yeah.
It's not one or the other, right? It's not I can't afford it or they pay me. There's always that wiggle room once you get to know the circuit and the individuals involved. Mm-hmm. Plus, it couldn't have hurt to be one of the only like 401 milers with an agent coming out of university.
Yeah, and the other thing is like I think being Canadian helped me because it's just a smaller demographic, not as much depth as the States. So that helped me. Being the beer mile, like world record holder, for some meets it helped as well. And
Ireland,
Germany.
No wonder Ireland brought you in. Yeah,
I couldn't believe when I got there. Yeah, the crowd loved that. So they're all in the stands having beers, and they can relate to someone that's a beer mile world record holder because they're like, oh, I can drink. I'm not necessarily a runner, but I'm a track fan, so I understand a little bit of what he's about, I guess.
Everybody's run from the cops.
That has to lead to different interactions with fans post race.
Yeah, it's unique. A lot of people just ask like, "How do you train for the beer mile?" I'm like, I get as fit as I can, and I pray on race day that the stomach gods are on my side. I pray I don't puke, so I'm not slamming beers all the time. I'm not going to the track with a 6-pack and crushing them in between reps. I'm like focused on the running part. Obviously, I do have I'll have social beers with friends and stuff like that, but there's no training aspect per se to that.
No stomach tolerance, no
going
volume work.
going for a run after having a beer sometimes, or going for a run after having a big dinner. That's the closest thing I would say to training.
So you just train in a vacuum and you let the other thing happen on race day.
Yeah, yeah, going dry.
It's probably not what people want to hear, but
No, I think
that's what it is.
I think they want to like, they would love to see me as like a frat boy that just crushes mileage, crushes beers, and trains like an absolute savage and animal for the beer mile. I do train like an absolute savage and animal for running, and just do with cross training and stuff. But beers, I'm pretty casual with. I do like the casual beer, but I'm not like slamming them day after day after.
I want people to have a little perspective on how fast you've run. So there's a gentleman out there by the name of Jakob Ingebrigtsen. Don't know if any of you have heard of him. And he and his mates, as they would say over there, did a beer mile for his bachelor party. And he recently got married. Now, Jakob Ingebrigtsen, Olympic champion, world champion, about as good and as big time as it gets in the running space. Nothing anybody listening probably doesn't know. And they took it somewhat seriously. There was videos out of his beer mile at his bachelor party. They timed it. There was winners and losers. And I'm sure you know what Jakob Ingebrigtsen ran in the beer mile at his bachelor party. Do you know? What did Jakob Ingebrigtsen run in the beer mile?
Was he like 5:30 or what was he, 5 something?
He was mid-fives, correct. Now, this is the quote-unquote fastest 1,500-meter runner alive today, on paper anyways, time-wise, right? I believe so. He's been beaten, but I think he's run the quickest time. Anyways.
Yeah, 3:27.
Right. And you've run about a minute faster than a world champion in the beer mile in particular, which I don't know, but I would have like a bumper sticker on my car, something, if I were you, letting everybody know. So I want the perspective there for people listening. So let's talk about when you first started taking it seriously then. I didn't know it went back to college for you, so this has been a pursuit. Where does that start? How does one get into that? Where are your opportunities to do that officially? I mean, explain what it is. Half of our listeners probably don't know the exact nuances of a beer mile. So maybe you start there, as simple as it is.
Yeah. So, yeah, I found out what it was in college. I was in my second year, and I had a stress fracture my first, so I couldn't even run that fall. But then we finished our cross-country season. We have something called binge week, which you just enjoy yourself for a week. You don't think about training, racing, nothing. So that's leading into the indoor season. And our team is like, they always have like a pub run. They have a beer mile. There's a few different activities they have just to get the team together, do something fun, and have a few drinks. So they organized a beer mile. I was like, oh, I'll try it. The seniors are all like, okay, you're going to need to like really gauge it and not go too hard. The beers will catch up to you. Just be smart. So yeah, they told me what it was. It had 5% beer, 355 milliliters. At the time, you had to dump your can over your head to show it was empty after you consumed it. So we did it at a random track at night, completely pitch dark. And I think I ran 5:30, and I was like, went out pretty easy. Never really like caught up to me. Obviously, the burping was the most, I don't know, unnatural aspect of it. It's just uncomfortable. You're almost trying to burp from very deep within yourself, so it's just all the carbonation is getting out of your system. And then I didn't think about the beer mile after that 5:30 until I did one a week later, because I was like, I'll do one more before the season gets going. So I just finished dinner. A buddy came over with a six-pack. He's like, okay, we're going to film it. We'll see how you do. I puked everywhere after that. All my pasta I ate for lunch, but I didn't puke during, and I ran 5:27 solo, and I was like, okay, you know what? That hurts too much. I hate it. I'm not doing that again for a long time. And then for the next year, I think that's when FloTrack started putting on a world championship for the beer mile. So I saw those events. I watched them. The guys were running ridiculous. Nick Simmons was doing it. The guys were running like 5 minutes or 4 high at the time. A guy from Canada up the road from me, he was in London, Ontario, 2 hours away, started doing them, and he was, running. He got his world record down to 4:47, I think, at the time. But all these flow track competitions, and Lewis was on Allen. He was the world record holder before me. He was on a Brooks scholarship or Brooks sponsorship. He was getting a lot of perks, and I was like, wow, this is crazy that this exists, and he's getting all this like stuff from it. Um, so like in the back of my head, I was like, I just want to see if I can beat him. It's not that I want any accolades or want any of the sponsorship stuff. It's just like I just want to see if I could beat his time. So then his best friend is one of my best friends, and him and my twin decided we were going to go to the track one night, and we're just going to try a beer mile and try and break the world record, and we'll film it, and if it goes well, we'll post the video. If not, we'll never talk about it again. So we went to the track. I was actually sick going into it, but it was right at the end of the track season and like before cross country season started. So it was like our only window to get this done before we started getting serious. And I was spitting out blood before, like I was actually like sick, and then did the beer mile. I was 4:39 at the time, and yeah, broke the world record. We put the video out on YouTube. Canadian Running got a hold of it, and then I was working at kids track camp, coaching for it the next day. I was getting messages from this event called Beer Mile World Classic on Facebook, and they said, "Hey, we have an event in England this weekend. Do you want to like come out? We'll fly you out." And I was like, "What the hell is going on?" Like things were just changing very quick, and then they're like, "Yeah, we'll fly you out tonight to England. You'll be there for 2 days. You won't miss much work, and we'll fly you home." I was like, "Can't say no to this." So hopped on a flight that night, drove to Toronto, which is 3.5 hours away. Got two buddies to drive me there. Went to England, did this beer mile, broke the world record again, and then that's when things just started popping off. And yeah, they started having the flow track one every year, and then they had the World Classic every year. So I did one beer mile a year. It wasn't affecting my training or racing, nothing like that, but it was something I could tap into that some people saw it as bad marketing. I just saw it as an opportunity to be a little different.
So what were those naysayers saying? What did they not like about it?
I think they
Or is
thought,
it the obvious?
I think they thought like, well, you're promoting binge drinking, you're making a parody of our sport. Um, yeah, just all the bad stuff you could think of, and I think they thought I was taking sponsorship dollars from people that were more deserving. So yeah, just rubbed some people the wrong way.
When did Adidas contact you in this process?
December 2016. So I ran my first the world record I think in August of 2016. Went to England that same month, and then by December was partnered with Adidas.
And what was that process like? Was it like any other athlete negotiation, or was it different for what you're doing?
It was different for what I was doing. It was more like focused on track, but because of the beer mile. So because of the media and variety of the beer mile, I think that's where they saw like an opportunity to stamp Adidas on everything. But it was geared towards like the performance of track, and also centered as like your track athlete first and foremost.
Do they have a desire or a stipulation for number of outside beer mile events to run, or are you fine with 2 events a year and just promote them in the meantime?
Yeah, two events a year. So one in California at a beer festival, and then the World Classic every year. The flow track one doesn't happen anymore, but yeah, they're open ended in terms of that.
That might be the most unique unstipulated contract of any pro runner.
Yeah, so it's crazy. And then like we get to go to Boston every year for the road mile, so that's an Adidas event. I've done the Adidas track meet a couple times in the past as well. They used to do it in Boston. Now it's in Atlanta. And I just made a lot of good connections with like a lot of great people within the brand. So Spencer Nellis, who's the head of Adidas Global for track and field, like see him in Boston every year, and like yeah, we know each other on a first name basis, shake each other's hands, ask each other how our families are doing. So it's cool to be well connected in that sense, and just like literal friends of the brand.
Mm-hmm. That's unique. It's special.
I have to imagine, I've seen some of the people, like, I follow a handful of pro runners on social media, not a bunch, but some. I have to imagine you get some attention from people who make their living this way because they can like game recognizes game, and I bet you most who could beat you without the beer know there's no way in heck they could beat you with the beer. Do you ever get any bleed down from like the pros, the top tier pros in the sport? Anybody poking in at you or acknowledging what you're doing, even though it's novel and different?
Some I think a lot of them are so focused, like you know how track athletes are. A lot of them are pretty like egocentric, so
Self-consumed.
they don't necessarily want to give like too much credit unless like we know each other very well. But I have gotten some like a tip of my hat of a hat from a few different athletes, and yeah, it's always cool. Like I'll always give people praise, like Ingebrigtsen. Like if I raced him in a mile, he would absolutely dust me, but doesn't mean I wouldn't try going with him the whole way until I died. Like, so it's cool. It's a unique event. Like I don't take it too seriously, and I think it's a cool accolade that if people actually try the beer mile, they're like, it's a hard, uncomfortable, weird event that it's definitely hard to go fast in it. So I, yeah, the fact that I'm running like basically essentially a 4 minute mile within the beer mile of the running part, and then adding on, yeah, the extra 7 to 8 seconds per beer. I think that's where when you actually break it down like that, like people are like, okay, this, even if you do a workout where it's 4x400 meters with short rest, that's a hard workout to hit. So I think people have respect when they actually truly think about it instead of just hearing the beer mile.
Well, and I think you're a good thing for, if you want to call it the sport of beer miling, because I think it's a good thing you're not a 410 or 420 miler who can just super exceed by being able to run your faster than your mile pace with beer in between, because it would probably lower people's, I don't know, their perception of the sport. But 357 is fast enough that you're kind of the part of the club.
Yeah.
It's a world apart from 347, but 347 recognizes how fast 357 is, and almost every track runner at some point ran a beer mile in college. So I think that there has to be enough legitimacy to what you bring to the table that you help the sport much more than a 420 miler running a 420 beer mile would.
Yeah, I think people even say like how fast do you think the beer mile can get, and I don't think it could go much beyond like sub 420. I think it could get down to like the 420-ish range, maybe a touch under, but I think 428 when you actually put it in perspective with, yeah, 357 mile in the past, although it is a far cry from 347. But yeah, you like you said, it's, you know what it takes to get to 357, that there's speed involved, there's endurance involved. Yeah, you can be competitive in most races, I would say.
Plus, what it takes to go 357 to 47 kind of rules you out from being able to do other things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so
347 to get ready for this would become like a 350 something miler. You couldn't find a 347 guy who could bring all that fitness to a beer mile effectively.
Yeah, and like, I don't know, like I'm 6'3". I can like have a big stomach. I'm a bigger body on the track, so I think maybe that plays into my favor too. And I mean, I think it's one of my strengths. It allows me to be strong, fit, but not. I can't get skinny like some of these guys like that are like Kenyan, Ethiopian. I can't get like that. So yeah, I think in terms of being able to hold my own with the beer and run fast, I think that's like, I don't know. I think I'm built for this event, which
For sure.
is a weird thing to say.
It would take like an Andrew Wheating frame,
Yeah.
like to be the biggest you could possibly be without losing the ability to run fast to have a shot. Because if you think about it, like you said, if you told someone to go 4x59 with 7 seconds rest, like there are very few people who would look forward to that workout.
Oh man, I remember.
And now if you fill those 7 seconds with waterboarding, then you rule everyone else out.
Yeah, yeah. I remember in high school, our coach, before my last race in grade 12, or might have been even been my senior year, like grade 11 year, he wanted me to do 4x400 minute rest, break a minute each time, and I was like was like, wow, that's a freaking hard ass workout. I don't think I could like, I did it at the time, and that was like a huge pat on the back. But like putting into perspective this with, yeah, out of breath consuming liquids, it's just, it doesn't, it's hard to, the young me would have been like, this is stupid. This is crazy. I don't think you could do that. It's not possible. But yeah, I don't know.
There's two things I want to break down with the beer mile. One, we already started talking about a little bit, and you said, it's not like I'm chugging beers on every run to train, and I'm training as a classically trained runner, whatever your philosophy is and your style, of course, and all the nuances that go along with it. But the beer drinking part isn't even a tiny fraction of how you approach the beer mile, so to speak. So I want to know, with that said, what percentage of your, I don't know, brain power, physical power is actually devoted to the specificity of the beer mile? Is it literally zero? Is it the show up and pray that you said the stomach gods are with you, or is there a little more to it than that?
On race day, there's a little more to it. Like you make sure your beers are nice and cold at a good temperature. You take them out usually, depending on the heat, maybe an hour. If they're on ice, you take them out like maybe an hour before. If they're in the refrigerator, you take them out maybe 30 minutes before. But you
would it be like a disaster? Would it be a disaster to have an ice cold beer as much as it would be a warm beer because of the way it would hit the body in that state? Like, that makes a difference?
I'd say it'd be, yeah. I mean, like the ice cold, just it burns your throat. It's hard to get it down one go. It's like chugging a can of Coke. It's not great. So you sort of want that fine temperature of cold or cooler, but not freezing cold, and definitely not warm. So yeah, I think there's certain things that like get dialed in. I do the same warm up that I would for a regular race. Do drills, do my strides, treat it like an actual race, and then I do carry an opener during the race. So I use pop tops. So I carry an opener with the entire race when I'm grabbing the beers, making sure it gets on properly, and then popping off the tops. Whereas a lot of guys use twist offs. They're wearing actually a gardening glove to twist off their bottles, or a football glove. But on race day, I'm dialed in just like it's any other race, making sure my beers are pulled out at a certain time with a certain temperature. Other than that, I would say just being as prepared as I can and as fit as I can be for the beer mile.
And
it doesn't matter what the competition is. You find out there are intricacies to it. Like,
yeah,
what temperature? When do I pull it out? Ice versus free. Like, this is why you can get into watching any sport, because as soon as you understand the sport, you realize what you're looking for and you can see the differentiators.
And then I will say, actually, in the chug zone, you are focusing on beer tilt too. So when I first started doing the beer mile, it was just throw it back. You think it's going to come out as fast as it can come out. But actually you learn through doing it that you almost have to tip it just above a 90-degree angle. So there's a bit of airflow in, so it pulls it out. I don't put my full lips to the bottle. I let a little, just rest it on my bottle lip. So there can be air that pulls it out. And that's the quickest way for it to come out. So as it's sort of getting filled up towards the end of the bottle of the neck of the bottle, you're tilting it as it's coming out, so it's not bunching up or it's not foaming up or bubbling. So there's also, I guess, a little bit of technique when it comes to how you're tilting it.
I love it.
I love hearing it too. So like breathing during that, like what are you feeling? What are you feeling during a beer mile? Let's talk about that. You said the burping and the bloating and all of that. And I guess before that, I just want one last question about training would be, like, when you first get into it, like, is it, I'm going to do this with bottles of water, or I'm going to, literally no sim workouts whatsoever, non-alcoholic sim workouts to get ready for this? It is pure mile training and pure showing up, right?
Yeah, like the day before, the closest thing I'll do is like maybe a chug the day before, just to make sure I still can chug a beer. That's just more of like I got to be secure. I can't be insecure about that, so I just make sure I can do that. And then maybe I'll do a water chug the week of as well. But aside from like doing it within an actual run workout, that's all separate.
Just making sure your throat remembers. Just making sure your throat remembers how to let that beer go down quickly. That's literally it. Just a reminder chug.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, but like you just have to you have to open your throat up and like essentially let the liquid as fast as it's coming in, just let it like flow through. So there's no like swallowing aspect to it. It's literally just yeah. I don't want to
A
talk too much
siphon.
on that, but it just
Yeah, a
get it down
siphon.
as quick as it can.
We're going to use these sound bites for our social
That's
media
it.
right there.
And then I had asked, what are you feeling during this thing? Like, describe lap by lap, or so when we put on a beer mile. In fact, my wife, I think she took third for the women. I mean, what came out of her afterwards, like the puking and everything. And I think it was 5:55 won our beer mile, and we had money on the line. We just, as many people registered, we allotted it to the winners, and you could have won like, I don't know, $800 just videotaping yourself running a beer mile. It'd been, yeah, something like that. I forget, but anyways. It looked awful, is what I'm getting at. Anybody who I've seen the beer miles,
It's not as good. It doesn't translate well to Canada. You guys get hosed with your conversion
Really
rate right now.
Yes.
it looks terrible. So tell me what you're feeling. Like, really break it down for us, like what it feels like to race all out a beer mile. I'm curious about things like, what is your heart rate doing compared to a normal run? What is your stomach feeling? Does it change your mechanics? Like your breathing, like all of those things that only an athlete would dissect. Like, tell me about that.
Yeah, you're definitely nervous before because there's so much uncertainty, and you're going to feel the same stimuli that you would in a regular race with a lot of other added aspects to it. So beforehand, you're just nervous and just hoping everything goes smoothly. Um, the first beer is always the most nerve-wracking, and I have done a beer mile before where I rushed through it. I left too much beer at the end because I let them foam up a little bit, didn't finish that last tilt, and then at the end you're allowed 4 ounces. I had like 4.05 say, so I got actually DQ'd. So I just always make sure I'm a little more cautious finishing those beers. So first one goes, heart's pounding. Obviously, you're in the chug zone. You can't leave it until you finish. There's a bunch of guys around you, so it's just you feel bodies right next to you. There's kind of a little bit of jostling there, and then you're just trying to chug this beer while you're looking up, also walking forward. So you're just walking through the chug zone, trying to time it right. So you finish your beer at the line, throw your bottle into the bucket. They make sure the organizer keep it upright so they can measure your beer after. And then you're just taking off. So it's a bunch of other guys. They usually all finish at the same time. It's just a mass chaotic start of everyone gunning it. Usually guys get out really hard. I usually traditionally get out way too hard. I think usually my first lap is right around 60 seconds or so with the chug. So you're looking at probably mid 50-second lap, 54-second lap, which is stupid a little bit at times, but it's just the adrenaline pumping. And the first 100 meters are all about getting the burps out. So you can actually relax your stomach, relax your breathing, and like feel more normal. And then coming into every chug, you're really focused on like the last 30 meters or so before the chug zone, getting your breathing sort of dialed into a certain level, certain amount of control. And then essentially you take one big breath before you chug because you're not able to really breathe during that time unless you're breathing through your nose. But each chug zone, it's just essentially 390 meters, guns blazing, going crazy, trying to get through it, grimacing probably the whole time, and then 10 seconds out of breath. Yeah, out of breath, consuming beer. And it's just repetitive like that and just keeps adding up. The burps get deeper, the burps get worse. The tingliness in your body gets worse because you're just full of adrenaline, but you also have this liquid sloshing around. And obviously the alcohol doesn't hit you till after, but just the chaos and everyone screaming at you and all that nature of the race is just, you feel like a circus act. Yeah, it's crazy.
So it's very much more an interval workout.
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah. You have to rip each one.
Yeah, just rip it and start each 400 like it's a new one. And the burps get worse and worse and worse because you have more and more liquid at the end. I think it's 3 or 4 pounds of beer at the end in your stomach. So, yeah, not fun.
Have you ever been mic'd up for one of these? I have to imagine listening to like a mile being run without beer being chugged, and then like the audio on that has to be like profoundly awful. like the noises you're making
They
audibly have to be just like a lot.
Yeah, so if you go to TSN on YouTube, if you type in like the beer mile, you find the TSN. They have a short doc. I think it was 10 minutes. They actually mic'd me up for that one. That was the World Classic, I think, in 2019 in Vancouver. So it was actually the one where I rushed. I ran 4:24, but had like slightly too much beer at the end. Um, they mic me up for that, and you can hear me grunting, you can hear me burping, you can hear me like spitting. It's nasty. So if you want to listen to that, go for it. It's all over that.
If that's your thing.
I want to listen to it.
So what has this done for the feeling of a regular mile or a regular 1500? Has it affected your racing at all?
Uh, no, I like the thing is that when I do a beer mile, I know what kind of fitness I'm in for actual running. And then in terms of the actual mile, it just makes it seem a little less daunting. Um,
Okay.
so I would say it's helped like keep me fit at certain times of the year. It's helped keep me motivated because I obviously want to go to whatever the competition is. I want to show up and be ready and be fit and compete well and try and break world records to try and yeah better the beer mile obviously. But there's bonuses attached to them too, so that's a nice incentive. Um, and then for the regular mile, it's just yeah, it's just made it. It's a hard race regardless, so it just makes it seem a little less hard, even though it's still super hard.
Which race is harder?
What are we talking bonus wise? Oh, go ahead, Kirk.
Well, I just want to know which race is prospectively harder. Is a beer mile to your potential more difficult than a pure mile or not?
Without question, it's significantly harder. And I think if anyone actually tried one and gave it a good go, they would wholeheartedly agree.
That's all I want to know. Go ahead, Bracken.
Well, you said bonuses. We got into obstacle course racing post-collegiately. It's its own little esoteric world, probably similarly shunned and looked down upon by real pure runners. But there was money to be made there for a bit. What are we talking about? Like, can you out-earn the average sub-elite or national level road runner in this world with what you're able to pull together, or is it too few and far between the competitions?
I'd say too few and far between. I mean, like the one in 2019, what was being offered for the world record bonus was 10K at the time,
Okay.
which is solid. It's just like, I mean, you do need to do other things in life to make money. Can't rely on the beer mile, but it
Shoot.
certainly helps for if that's another source of income or just yeah,
Right.
definitely helps.
So you must have some unfinished business then. 424, not legit by standards because you left just a hair too much beer accumulated in the bottles. What, an ounce of beer is what apparently they allow you. And if you breach that threshold, you're DQ'd. So are you still in hot pursuit here? Like, is this still something you're full force trying to lower? Or are you like, can you lean back in your chair and be like, I'm satisfied?
Nah, I want to rip that record down, man. It's in Windsor, Ontario, August 17th, my hometown. So every year they put the Beer Mile World Classic in a new place. They've done it in Berlin, Vancouver. They've done it in San Francisco. Like there's so many different places they travel. It's been in Belgium. So this year it's actually in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. So there's a home crowd. There's family, friends coming out. It should be a great time. And they're resurfacing the track. They're finishing it a week before. So we're the first race on the track. And I would love to put on a show in front of the home crowd for sure.
That's pretty cool that it's there. You mentioned Nick Willis earlier, and he's one of the exceptions to the miling rule. He was on a world stage competitive until late 30s, competing for Olympic medals. So with him in mind, or maybe he has no bearing on this whatsoever, how long can you remain at the top of a sport like this? Like, where do you see this taking you?
I don't know, man. I thought about that. I was joking that I would retire after this one in Windsor, but I don't think I can, to be honest. Like I'll keep doing them. It's brought me to new places. It's given me a lot of good opportunities, and like yeah, connects me with a lot of like-minded, very interesting people. So I
Mhm.
think I'll keep doing it, to be honest, until someone humbles the shit out of me, which I hope comes very soon.
Because you're ready to be done, or because you want the competition?
I want someone to beat it. Like I've never raced a beer mile where someone's been there toe to toe the entire race, and I don't know what that feels like.
Yeah.
So I would love to feel that. I'd love to duke it out in the chug zone, like neck and neck, like elbows to elbows with someone the entire race. That'd be crazy. So maybe Jakob's that guy.
Maybe Jakob's that
Maybe he
guy.
can get dialed in for a month of his life and see what happens there.
Now we, like you said, we did obstacle course racing, and we quickly, like, there was some 13:30, 13:10 guys that came over. There were some legit runners, a few
Olympians.
Olympians,
Yeah.
few world record holders in other sports. It didn't translate well, but the best ones didn't come back a second time like, you went from 5:30 to sub 4 pretty quickly. We've only had a few people take their lumps long enough to stay out and find out if they're actually good or not. So how long would it take, let's say a 3:49 guy, to find out what his ceiling could be? How long would they have to come back and try it? Is it 2? Is it 3?
I'd say two times for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe a third, but if you're not feeling on a third, if you don't, I guess even after doing one, if you don't feel like you have potential there, it's probably not for you.
Interesting.
And that's fine. It's just like it's a weird sport. It's just I think a lot of
Mhm.
it, a lot of people don't have the stomach. They'll puke every time, regardless of how much they try. So if you feel like you have it and you feel like there's potential, like after my first one, I was like, I feel like I could be good at this, but nothing really existed at the time. And I
Mhm.
knew I could chug. So I feel like if you know you can chug, you know you're a good runner, and you have a strong stomach, those are the three main things you need to do a decent beer mile.
So you don't know this, but I was also a niche mile world record holder for a brief amount of time. About 5 weeks, I had the dribbling a basketball
Oh damn!
1 mile record, and then it was taken lower. And I thought it was the kind of thing that I'd be able to hold for a while because, again, I was coming off surgery when I did my first one and thought I can cut a lot of time off this, and there's not that many athletic runners. It's going to be fine. And then very quickly, like, a high school kid ran 4:29, and then a college coach went 4:27, and then a college runner who had been an all-state point guard went like 4:26, and you start realizing there are these people all over that, like, I think I'm alone, and they're doing the same thing, but they're faster runners. Do you have your eye on a few people who are potentially that guy, or do you think you still are pretty unique in this world?
I don't really know. Like I feel like it's such an undercover thing to be good at that like I wouldn't really know. I could label a runner who I think would be good, but could be the complete opposite. So
Okay.
um,
There's no rumors on the circuit of some guy who can just absolutely chug, but his contract's keeping him from trying this.
uh, I think there are a few that I've heard of.
Yeah.
And there are a few like Eric Jenkins back in the day when he was racing more.
Okay.
Um, he kept talking a big game, but he never came out. So yeah, don't really know. But there are a few that are like whispered around, but they haven't come to show up. So it's like it's hard to say if it's talk or if they actually could do something.
That makes sense.
I got two major.
Which one can go lower?
Oh, go ahead.
The mile basketball and the mile beer is about the same right now.
Yeah,
Which one has I believe which one has a more limiter is the beer mile. I think the basketball mile can go much lower
yeah.
because it's purely efficiency. But what do you think is the limit for both?
I think for the basketball mile, I mean, I could see like someone being able to run sub 4:10 in that. If
Yeah.
everything was a go and they were insanely fit, um, and like yeah had good ball handling, knew how to position the basketball to be able to keep their stride and everything
Hmm.
similar to them running a regular mile. But the beer mile, at the end of the day, the liquid only comes out so fast, so you're limited by that factor. The basketball mile, you're only limited by how well you can control the ball and still run.
That makes sense.
Both are fast. I can't imagine it like a all-out basketball mile. Like how far out in front of you that ball would have to be hitting the track and the timing of the whole thing, right? Just like the proprioception of that alone would have to be pretty incredible to nail it. Not a missed dribble or I mean, that's a lot of repetition
That's
at
the
that
thing.
speed, right?
You lose it off the track and you're done.
Right.
So there's two styles. One person stays in one hand so they can keep rhythm and they just keep it right in front of their hip the whole time. And then the other is the push dribble, like a fast break, alternating hands, get a longer rhythm going, get a push with 2 strides push. So it's either constant dribble or every other, but either way, like you can't have one bad dribble.
Yeah.
If it starts getting back on your hip, like you're in the danger zone.
I feel like my brain would be exhausted after doing that.
You know what was exhausted on me? My neck. I was clenching a little bit, and then my forearms got so tired. I wasn't able to stay as relaxed as I thought I would be. I got done with a forearm pump running a mile, and my neck was clenched. Foolishness.
Do you have a video of that, by the way? Is that out there? Does that exist, Brakken?
Mine does, but it's useless now because it's been shattered.
Oh.
If you can't run sub 430 right now, there's no point like going after it. So that's still a goal. I'd like to run 429 with the dribble. But yeah, the original one I said, it was right after Nick Simmons did it. He ran like 520. And then everyone quick, Nick gets the ball rolling, then other people do it. So
Get after it this summer.
that's right.
I had 2 more questions I wanted to get to with you, Corey, really. And both aren't really beer mile related. One is, as I was doing like my research on you, and I'd stumbled upon you a couple times and recently followed you, your stature jumps out at me, your size. 6'3", you're muscular, you're powerful, you appear as an athlete, right, versus many who have run 357. I don't know many 357 milers that are built like you, if any. Now I'm much shorter than you. I'm 172 pounds and I'm 5'10", trying to run fast. At the start line, I look like a pit bull next to the guys who are running the same pace I am. I get looks like, what are you doing here? And I imagine maybe you fall into that camp. And I just want to know, like, being a larger endurance, like with true speed potential, like, I don't know. Is there anything to it? Do you know any different? I guess, what is it like being, because what your height's 6'3", and what do you weigh, if you don't mind me asking?
175-ish.
Okay. Running as fast as you do with that frame and that size is like, I mean, do you know anybody, truthfully, Corey?
Not a ton, to be honest.
Not since Solinsky, probably.
Yeah, Solinsky or even Weeding.
Yeah.
Weeding, probably, yeah. Although I heard Weeding was like 165.
Oh, down. Yeah.
Slinsky was
I could be off on that,
6'2", 170, Slinsky? 6'2", 165?
I think so.
70?
Right around that.
Yeah, he's from not far. I had the unfortunate pleasure of racing him. He was a sophomore when I was a senior, and we were not far apart. So I lost. I always lost. That's what I'm getting at, to a kid at the time who knew what he was going to become. But anyways, like, well, is that any point of pride, contention? Does it affect how you train, like your stature in general? Have you dabbled in other sports that your frame would warrant? Anything like that? I'm just curious if you have any association. For me, it's a point of pride. Like, I'm running fast for my size and weight, for example. Just tell me your relationship with that, I guess. I'm curious. That's a personal curiosity.
Yeah. I think at first because I raced a Diamond League in 2017, and I was on the start line with a bunch of elite Kenyans, Ethiopians, and I realized, like, I did not look like these guys whatsoever. So at first, honestly, I struggled with, like, my size, being a runner, trying to make it to the next level, not really looking like these guys, not being a skinny, like, I was lean enough for my size, but I wasn't slender, and I always thought, like, I'd heard too, like, oh, you lose 10 pounds, you could be so much faster. So I actually dabbled a little bit in, like, cutting back nutrition, not fueling as much, playing around with that side of things, and that did not go well. I dealt with a bunch of stretch fractures. So I think my biggest strength is probably, like, my size, my speed, my power that comes from that. So I've honestly accepted it. I've learned to love it. I'm like prideful on my size and ability within that size. So yeah, I can handle the mileage, handle the speed stuff, and at the end of the day, I cross train on the bike and in the pool. So I like strength training. I like, yeah, doing a variety of things aside from running. I think my body type also uh, like influences that and responds well to it.
Yeah, I was just going to ask about the mileage, if that affected how much you could run. Honestly, right now, I'm a 4-day-a-week runner, sometimes 5, and I cross-train my butt off in between because I know at my weight, and that's what it takes to be healthy and still available. Do you find yourself, like if you were to go race a half, does your range extend that far? Half
Yeah, I mean, like,
marathon, not half mile?
uh, yeah, half marathon. Yeah, it definitely extends that long. I know I can handle like big mileage in university. I average through every cross season like 90, 95 miles a week for extended duration of that season. And then I am doing my first half in October, and I am pacing in about 3 and a bit weeks. I'm pacing the Ottawa Marathon. So I'm pacing till 25K for that. So I think we'll be going through half in 109, which want it to feel as smooth as possible going through in 109. But I think my goal for my October half, where I'm actually gunning for it, is I would like to go sub 65 on my first one. But yeah, I know I can handle mileage. I love the speed and variety, and I think that's sort of what I've learned from university till now is like respond well to mileage, respond well to speed, power, hills, all that stuff, and then respond well to like VO2 max work. So I try and make sure all that's in within a 10-day cycle. So all that is being up kept very well.
So a while back, not that far ago, last month we did a series of how to run your best blank, and one of them was mile. But we have a 357 miler here, and I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you. So how do you put together your best mile fitness right now? You don't have to give away all the secrets, but just broad strokes, how do you piece your training together?
Yeah, I think the essentials are you want a little bit of mileage in there. Almost treat it like you're training for a 5K in terms of mileage. So I think for me to get in good mile shape, I think I would probably like lay on about I do kilometers, so 110 to 120 kilometers per week, which is, I'd say, for some on the higher end of things. And then I find hill works largely beneficial. So I like to hop on and do hill repeats, whether it's 10 by 300-meter hill at a decent gradient, and just literally, like, I'd say 80 to 85% effort upwards, jog easy down, getting some good reps in that way. Long run is essential each week. So whether you do a mid-week long run or end-of-the-week long run, I think that's essential. Strides, super beneficial, especially for just overall mechanics. Yeah, fast touched off the ground. And then I do think you need some like specific track work, very fast moving stuff. So on the track, we would do a mixture of 400s, 200s, 300 repeats. Sometimes you need some longer stuff like 1K repeats. But I think as much variety as you can do on the track and get used to that. Track's a great place to get a good rhythm going and become very rhythmic. So I think that's part of the mile. You have to, whether you're going and starting to die in the last stage of the race, you want your form to remain the same. So you find that by doing the strength work and doing the track work.
That's interesting you bring that up because I would say you're a pretty vertical runner compared to, again, you brought up the East Africans, compared to that real like prancy forward lean. You march run.
Yeah.
Like, and that's not a bad thing. That's just, but the more vertical a runner is, the more they tend to get pulled over backwards when they fall apart at the end of a race. Yes. But you in a beer mile deal with as much physical breakdown and distress as anything, and you hold that upright form all the way through, it seems. Was that a struggle for you? Is that why you focus so much on being rhythmic and lasting, or is that something that you've just been able to do naturally?
Something I had to focus on. Like I used to get pulled back when the late stages of the race came about. I but feels like a monkey jumped on your back and is just pulling you backwards. So I think for me, the biggest thing that helped was doing things aside from running. So getting your core really strong, whether it's for me, I'm familiar with the pool. So I get my core as strong as I can within the pool, and having good form there. Also doing a bunch of core work, specifically like yeah, obviously you're doing strength work, squats, deadlifts, the essential like running strength with weights, or even just
Hmm.
body weight stuff like stability stuff, one-legged work. Plyometrics are largely beneficial if your body can handle them. Those are the stuff I think help the later stages of the race. Um, and then just learning to activate your glutes over your hamstrings and those little things that can help you in the later stages too.
It's good stuff. I like it.
My last question was about your training, and Brakken sniped that from me. So, same page, Brakken. I guess I'll just piggyback that
Nice.
with asking, let's say, last 3 to 6 weeks, let's say 3 weeks into an A-mile race or 1,500, what's like one of your favorite sharpening or I want to confirm I'm race ready workouts? Like just one of your favorites that you know if you hit that, you're going to have confidence going into your next race. Do you have one or two that come to mind?
I did one last year. I think it was. I think I did 10 by 400 meters. All at 1,500 effort, 90 rest in between all of them, and averaged 56 high on that. So I knew I was like fit for that, and I know if I hit that workout and can tackle that within like a 56 high average somewhere in there, like 57 even. I know I'm like fit and can handle most races. So that's good for the endurance side of things. But then if I do like to make sure my speed's on point. So whether it's doing 8 by 150 with a decent amount of rest, or like 2 sets of 4 by 200 with a decent amount of rest, just to make sure I can close too. I think those are two staple workouts that allow me to know I'm ready for the mile, especially.
Yeah, that
And how far out are you going to pop that one?
Nowadays, the older I get, I would say you're gonna probably want at least 10 days before.
Hmm.
I think back in the day, I could have probably done that the week of and not been too sore. But before Boston this year, the road mile, I did 8 by 150. I don't know, 4 days before the race, and it was like just stupid because I couldn't. My hamstrings were locked for the race. Like yeah, it was a sad showing.
Yeah, that's called your gear's gone. Like you used that gear too recently, and it's not available to you again yet. That's how I feel when I hit something too big, too close at race effort or more. It's funny you say like 400-meter
Yeah.
repeats being an endurance workout, because most people listening would be like, "Are you kidding me? That is speed, 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 baby." But I bet you the last 150 of those later reps feel exactly like the 1,500 feels, or the mile when you're reaching those last handful of
Yeah.
reps, right? So you're familiar with the lactate overload and the whole thing, right?
Yeah, and I think for the 1,500, to get that sort of effort within an interval, and get familiar with like race pace within not too long and not too overstretching of an interval distance, I think 400 is a sweet spot to hit. So yeah, I mean, endurance wise, if you're a longer distance runner, you're laughing at 400-meter being an endurance rep, but for the mile specifically, I think it makes sense.
Well, last thing I have for you is, unsurprisingly, a shoe question. You raced Boston Road Mile, right?
Yeah.
So is that a Takumi on there, or what are you bringing out for a road mile?
Yeah, so I love the Takumis, to be honest.
They're great.
They're amazing. They feel so natural. It's the perfect amount of pop. I don't like all the full carbon shoes, to be honest. So the Takumis are just enough of like sort of the old school traditional racing flat that's not too minimal, but also still has some snappiness to it that isn't overwhelming. It just feels natural.
I agree. I think that they are a high-end flat.
Yes.
without them. They don't have to change your form.
No, no. And yeah, some of the, like, even when I first got the Adios Pro, it was so soft, and depending on where I landed on the shoe, it was very unstable, it felt at times. So I like something that's firm, poppy, but also requires me to create my own pop and not have the shoe create it for me.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Okay, well, I'm going to wedge one last quick one in because another selfish question. And since you're training for the half, or at least pacing a half, I'm going to race a half in June. It's actually my first road half. I do long trail stuff, but not long, in quotes, road stuff, but I'm dabbling. Anywhere 5K to half marathon, 5K too is a selfish pursuit for me this summer. If you were to bump those like favorite workout question, if you have one or two that come to mind, I know it hasn't been your specialty throughout your life, and then we're going to end this thing. Do you have any like feel good workouts as far as extending the race duration up? Any that come to mind that you're like, oh yeah, this is a one that I respond well to? Mostly because I'm starting to rejig my own training, right? And I have some key workouts coming up in the next 2 months, and so I like to hear other people's ideas. So anything there?
Yeah, I love 3x2 miles on 2 minutes rest. It's yeah, I love that workout, to be honest. That's a great strength workout. For 5K,
you can't fake that one. What kind of pace?
Just makes me ready.
What kind of pace are you looking to hit for?
So that one I'll do kilometers. I do everything in kilometers, to be honest. So that'll be try and aim for 3:00 kilometers or a touch under if all conditions are good, and just try and feel good at that pace and go out consistent. Not try and put too much money in the bag the first kilometer, first interval even. And then for 5K stuff, I would say like 6 times a K, 3 minutes rest is another good one that I enjoy a lot, because you can dial in at race pace and you should be recovered enough by the time the next interval hits that you can keep doing that, and you should feel like you have a couple more intervals in you after that one.
I like it. I'll be doing 3x2 miles here in the next few weeks. That's on my to-do list, actually. That's one I like to hit. But I take 3 minutes rest, so maybe I need to suck it up. All right, anything else, Brakken?
I have teeter-totter with that one, 2 and 3 minutes rest. But okay. I feel like if you're fit enough, 2 minutes feels it comes around quick, but I feel like it's just enough to get recovered and feel good for the next one.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed this conversation today.
I did too, boys. I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, I would love to hear how your future races go, and if we can ever get out for a race as a group, that'd be phenomenal.
Do you ever make it out this way, Minneapolis?
Maybe they'll add a basketball mile in Windsor.
Can you imagine the cluster F like a competitive basketball dribbling mile would be, with everybody leaving the line with their stupid balls? That'd be hilarious.
You'd have to run in lanes.
That running in lanes would be crazy for a mile doing that.
Maybe like a 2-turn stagger in alleys or something.
I could do that. That takes me back to the 800 days, or even when I did 600 on the track. It was 2-turn stagger.
Yeah. Yeah, the ball, it would be a nightmare with everyone dribbling, so be a small field.
Oh, man.
I just asked if you make it out this way at all. Chicago area for Brakken, Milwaukee, or Minneapolis?
Chicago area, once in a while, like we'll go visit. Like last year we were there just for the beer mile. I'd say we either go like when something's going on or family's going out that way or something like that. And then Minneapolis, I don't think I've ever been, to be honest.
It's like Canada, but like just like in the U.S. Really, it's no different. You'll feel right at home here.
I would like to go. I'd rather go in the summer, this time of year, then.
Yeah, agreed. So where can people?
Yeah, there's no sense going up there in the winter.
Where can people follow you and all that then, as we wrap this thing up, if they want to keep up with what you have going on?
Yeah. Just follow me on social media. Just first and last name, Corey Bellemore, Instagram. That's pretty much where I focus any of my social media energy on. Other than that, yeah, I don't know. You can Google me if you want.
YouTube him, this stuff.
Yeah, and look his TSN audio up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you're,
get to know him intimately.
I'm actually going to do that. I'm actually going to do that. What do we have to look up? Tell me right now. I want to listen to you gargle through a beer mile.
Yeah, I think it's let me just make sure. I'll confirm what the actual name is.
The important things here, folks.
So if you Google Beast of the Beer Mile, it'll be the first one that comes up.
All right. Now the listeners will be satisfied. Put that in your ears on your run, folks.
Yeah, enjoy.
Thanks, Corey.
No problem.
Thanks
for
for your
having me,
time,
boys.
man. See ya.
Okay, thanks a lot.